What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Steel City Boys. I'm your host, Zach. It's my boy, Jared.
Yep,
and I am
5.
fired up, baby. It is kickoff Sunday. I'm ready. You ready?
Don't touch me, asshole.
What? Don't call me an asshole. I'll put you through the fucking wall. All right, we're back. I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
That's why we're so fired up. It's kickoff Sunday, baby. Like, I'm hyped. Steelers, Niners today.
Absolutely.
Man.
A lot of good games, a lot of football. We're back. You know, fall season is among us, and excited about it.
Oh, how did we get here, though? That's what I'm going to... It's like...
Time goes by so fast, and before you know it, it'll be October, Halloween time, and a lot of spooky stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. Like the... did you hear that new Exorcist movie? Did you see the previews for that?
No, I did not.
Oh, bro. Have you seen the original one?
No,
Oh.
I have not.
Yeah, well, don't watch it. It's scary as shit.
Did you see the Nun trailers?
No, I haven't.
Reminds me of Catholic school.
Oh, yeah, like our good old Sister Agnes Cecilia.
You're right.
Boy, I think she would scare off that nun.
Yeah, agreed.
That nun wouldn't mess with Sister Mary John Cook.
No, they'd beat her ass with a ruler.
Oh, yeah, no, Sister Mary John Cook, man. I'll tell you what, she looks like she could be playing like center for the Steelers, man. She was a big, old, mean woman. Like, not someone you wanted to mess with.
Absolutely.
Very nice, though. But, you know, you didn't want to get on her bad side. But, hey, in all seriousness, though, we are happy you guys are joining us again. Look, today's topic, really, is it time to drop out or stay in school? Because I'll tell you what, speaking of two guys that were in college, have degrees, very educated, we're here to talk to you today about the alternatives to college. So here we go.
And here we go.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there that when you go into high school, middle school, we don't really present that to people. I mean, starting a business, being a freelancer, doing construction work, going through an apprenticeship. There's a lot of other avenues besides just going to college, graduating with a degree, and then going through that rat race of trying to find which company, trying to get the most money, and then you're already behind the 8 ball, like we were talking about earlier. So you're kind of selling your soul out of college, right? You're already behind the 8 ball with X amount of debt. So you're just like, I don't care what job it is. I want the most money possible because I have to pay all these student loans off. So you don't even necessarily select the best job that you want.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And that kind of gives us into our first point, our first segment about traditional college versus the alternatives. I'm going to go over some of the pros of traditional colleges. The first one is an in-depth education of a chosen field. So you don't really have too much education when it comes to something you're studying, and I think going to college is an advantage of that to get a broader understanding of it. So I think having an in-depth education of a certain topic or a certain study that you're wanting to pursue, I think there's a pro to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. The thing, too, it's like college, there's a lot of courses that you take that doesn't necessarily attribute to the degree that you want. I think college, there's a place for it in terms of having a broad understanding, but let's be honest, as soon as you get that first job, they teach you everything they want you to know. Even if you have a degree in marketing, business, accounting, construction, whatever that is, that company is going to teach you exactly what they want you to know or do.
I think I've learned more from real life experiences and failures and from mentorships than I did in college.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad you said the failures part, because I think there's a very bad context with failures, and people are afraid to fail. People think that failure is a bad thing. Honestly, it's the best thing for growth, having a job, doing something, failing at it, because then you understand, oh, this is the right way, or, oh, this is the more efficient way. And in colleges, if you fail, it's really a bad thing. You know, it puts you behind, and it's not so good.
Well, and we're taught in schools growing up that if you fail, you're a failure. And failure is unacceptable. If you make a mistake, that's not good. You're constantly being judged and evaluated. Whereas I had to unlearn a lot of that stuff in the real world. It's like failure is inevitable.
Yeah.
Fail stands for first attempt in learning. If if you're not failing, then you're not learning. You never lose, you learn.
No, I totally agree. And the other thing too that colleges, I don't want to say get wrong, but it's not relatable to the real world, is this: you're on your island, you take notes, you take exams, you take tests, you present by yourself. In the real world, 9 out of 10 companies, you have a team. You can ask people questions, and people are adults in the real world. If you ask a dumb question, nobody really cares. Nobody's like, you're an idiot, you're a dumbass. Life moves on.
When I was in college, I did insurance sales part-time. I had no idea about the insurance industry. Not a clue whatsoever. But I learned. I was taught by mentors. I was taught by leaders. Now, I'm not going to say that the company I was with was necessarily a great company and a great culture to be a part of. But I did learn a lot that I didn't learn in schools. But I think it's all about the individual. Right, I think is that old cliche of you can do anything and learn anything you set your mind to. I truly agree with that, because I don't think you have to be the smartest guy in the room or the most talented, but I think you have to have that work ethic and that knowledge to learn something new. So,
yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is, like you said, learning, and kind of, you don't have to be an expert, but you have to constantly adapt. And the thing that I'm going to knock college again is you don't really learn about people, because a lot in the workforce is learning people's personalities. This guy's this way, this lady's this way. How do I navigate? How do I ask this person a question? What's this person's role? You understand what you have to do for your job, but it's mostly dealing with people all day long.
yeah, I mean, that's where the real learning begins, is when you get in the real world. They can teach you everything in college, like these theories. I had this weird professor who was my philosophy professor, Dr. Groh. Oh my God, was he the biggest douche? I mean, because he was, I'm a philosophy professor, I'm enlightened, and I am superior to you because I know some philosophical theories. It's like, screw you, dude. Like, I'm paying you money. I'm paying your salary pretty much, and you're going to try to tell me that philosophy is the most important thing in the world?
Yeah.
Like, newsflash, buddy. I know I've met mentors and leaders that make what you make in a year in 1 week.
Right. No, absolutely. And these colleges don't even update their curriculum. It's the same curriculum that they had 20 years ago. Some of these guys, going back to my college days, it's the same copy and paste shit for 20 years. And they just regurgitate the same stuff. But newsflash, industries and companies, they adapt. There's more stuff going on than what you learned 20 years ago. And some of the stuff we learned, having to do calculations by hand, there's computers for that. There's Excel sheets. I don't need to know how to do, like, construction takeoffs if I have a bid sheet Excel. You know what I mean?
Remember when teachers used to say, yo, you won't always have a calculator? Like, yes, I do.
Right.
Yes, I can.
Now we got ChatGPT, AI.
Yeah. I can pretty much have ChatGPT run my life if I want to.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I had ChatGPT in college, you know how much time that would have saved me on writing papers or teaching me something? Probably could have learned more from ChatGPT than I could from my so-called professors.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where I'm going to get into the cons of traditional college. One of the cons is definitely, let's be real, the high tuition cost. I mean, my God, looking back on it, I could have used that money to invest in a business or a home. I could have went into business and owned a pot dispensary, for God's sakes, and probably would have been not in debt and probably could have been making a 6-7 figure salary by now.
Oh, yeah. And this is another thing of, like, colleges, they make it seem like you have one avenue. You need to get this degree. You get an office job, 9 to 5. You get paid this amount of money, and that's it. But in all honesty, if you came out of high school and you did a job that nobody else wants to do, but you get paid a lot, I see this in construction all the time. Cleaning services. All these companies do is literally clean construction sites, and you can make a good amount of money just being that cleaning service. Sure, is it fun to clean up and do manual labor? Not really, but if you're not behind with the debt and you have the motivation, you keep your body right, you can make decent coin.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said construction work, which leads to my next point of the con of you don't always need it for certain professors. I say if you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, what else? I mean, I would say business maybe.
Maybe.
But those top three, I would say, yeah, you have to go to school for that kind of stuff. I don't want a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer working with me if they're not educated.
Yeah.
I want the best.
I wouldn't like to be on the operating table and see the doctor looking at a chat GPT how to slice open this guy's gut and remove his appendix.
What's that one commercial? It was like something of a doctor. It was like, oh, yeah, I maybe might be able to solve it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I forget what the quote is exactly, but it was so funny, but it's the truth. I mean, stuff like that, yeah, you got to go to school for a doctor, lawyer, and engineering degree. Everything else, though, and I'm saying that with a guy with a degree, you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need it.
Agreed.
So
It's it's overrated. I mean, technically, like you said, if a lawyer, doctor, if you need something that's advanced beyond common knowledge, I don't think you can just walk into a hospital, know what you're doing, walk into a courtroom, know what you're doing. But 9 times out of 10, if you're in construction, you're going to learn a lot of things like apprenticeships where people walk in and they understand you don't know anything. And the whole point is you go through 3 or 4 years as a carpenter, being an apprentice, learning from guys, learning from their mistakes. Sure, is it a little bit throw your ass to the fire? Yeah, but you end up doing that in the after college anyway.
I mean, my God, there's like some 12-year-old YouTubers out there that are making like $10K a month. Here I am wasting money for a college degree, trying to, or hoping to get a job one day, and barely scraping by to pay that debt off. So
Right, but that's
Definitely.
like another point though of you don't necessarily need to do this 9 to 5 office job all the time. And there's other companies too that I've worked for and I know very well setting up for events, like just tents and tables and things like that. You don't need a degree for that, but you can make decent money. Once again, manual labor. It's not cutesy fun, but if you work hard, you know how to do it. The opportunity's there besides just that 9 to 5 office grind.
I think a monkey, yeah, you could train a monkey to help set up for an event. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's so pushed in society that, oh, you have to go to school, you have to get a degree, you have to work this. At least that's what I was always taught, just like pushing that into my head. So I was convinced, okay, that's the only way to become successful. My perspective changed a lot when I got into the insurance industry and learned a lot about entrepreneurship and investments.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, and I'm sure you have a similar story. For me, it's kind of like in construction, we learn about how to build, how to read drawings, how to do this, right? It's all perfect on a piece of paper. Oh, this problem arises. You send an RFI. Everything's perfect in college. Guess what? In the real world, you're like, no, this guy was wrong. This drawing's off. This isn't actually how you do it. This guy's just going to tell me how he's going to do it. Okay, that isn't necessarily what we were taught in school, but his way makes sense. It's all these critically thinking, and I think college really removes the critical thinking aspect, which our society doesn't critically think about anything.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you definitely learn more from getting a job in the real world. You're going to learn a whole new system anyway. They're going to reteach you everything where you sit there and say, well, wait a minute, why did I even need a degree? Why couldn't I have just started here and you taught me?
Yeah.
I mean, there's workers at Pepsi that started when they were 18 years old. They're now managers making like 85 to 90K a year, no degree. Sounds like a pretty damn good life to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I know we all fantasize about this dream job that we're all put into our head. What do you want to be when you grow up, little Timmy? I want to be, a doctor, this or that. when we grow up, a job's a job. It all kind of sucks. So it's just kind of like, whatever. If I'm scraping toilets or I'm sitting at a computer all day, as long as the money's where I want it to be, then that's all that matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point, and that's where I'm going to get in my next segment about vocational and trade schools. The benefits of vocational and trade schools: one, shorter duration and lower costs significantly. I mean, you probably have to go for, I don't know exactly, but I think it's like about a year or two, no debt, and I'm pretty sure they pay for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they do. You can, if you're a carpenter by chance, you go to school for a while, but it's not school in the same sense of college. You go per, I forget what it is, every week, every month, like for a day, but you're still working, and your company has to be okay with that. That's like for union carpenters. So you're still working, you're still learning. I think it has to take 3 or 4 years to be an apprentice. It's some type of system, but you go to school, you get paid, they teach you, and then the hours you accumulate, you get a higher pay. So 1 year apprentice, 2 year apprentice, 3 years, then you can be a foreman, then you can kind of go from there. If you want to be a super, or you learn a lot in the field and you have the capabilities to be an office guy, you want to be a manager, there's a lot of avenues where you can take in construction, but they do give you the ability to be an apprentice, learn, get paid, go to school while you're getting paid. And I don't understand why college isn't like that to somewhat.
Why it's not more hands-on. And that leads me to my next point of a more hands-on and skills job readiness. They make you ready for the job by having more hands-on approach and have you actually practice. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I've always been a hands-on learner. I can't really just like sit and read something and then it's like, oh, I know how to do it. That's not how it works. Think about, I'll relate it to sports. You don't learn by sitting and watching. You learn by getting up there and swinging the bat and striking out a few times. Yeah, you might fall on your face and you might screw something up, but the hands-on approach is what they give you in that trade school, is really make you ready for the job, whereas college just says, oh, I'm Dr. Grow, I'm going to teach you about philosophy and what is the meaning of life and that tigers are related to cats. Like, really, dude? I could have looked that shit up myself, and instead I'm paying thousands of dollars for you.
No,
oh, man.
Definitely. And that's the thing. I'm glad you said the...
It's too bad you don't play sports, Dr. Grow, or you'd be the jackass of the week. Ooh, yeah, I'll say it. I paid a lot of money to be at that school, so I'll speak my mind.
Yeah. But yeah, it's these professors, man. I get they have 20 years experience, or they taught a class, or whatever their credentials are. But at the same time, like we've talked about, the real world is different. So he can talk about philosophy and how tigers are related to cats or whatever the hell he's talking about. That's not necessarily what's going on in the real world. He's in this bubble of a classroom of kids that are forced to sit in a seat. And that's the thing. I was a hands-on learner too. I don't like sitting in a seat for fucking 2 hours taking notes. This guy rambles on. Then you got the distractions of your phone. It's like it's a waste of time.
Like my ADD after a certain point is like, hey, I'm checked out here.
Yeah, our attention spans are so low, and you expect us to sit and listen to some boomer for like 2 hours? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and another benefit is there's a high demand for skilled trades. I mean, there's so much demand for it. People are always going to need electricians, plumbers, carpenters. People are always going to need work on their house, plumbing issues. There's going to be job opportunities for you in that.
Right, and I'm a big proponent of all the construction and trade schools. I mean, if I was to do it differently, I might have just gone to a trade school and kind of learned from there. But it's a really good thing to know. If you're a carpenter, plumber, electrician, you're going to learn a little bit about all aspects of construction. For instance, on a site, it's not that difficult. Everything's pretty much square footage, linear footage. Electrical and plumbing's a little different. But if you have that knowledge, you can do self-repairs on your house. You can do side businesses to help other people, other companies. Hey, you want me to put some drywall, slap some paint in somebody's basement? Sure. That's a side hustle you can do because you already do it, 8 hours a day.
They're much needed, too. I mean, hey, I wouldn't know the first thing about having to, like, build a deck or, like, fix some plumbing issues. So there's definitely a high demand for it. And I think a lot of society, for some reason, like, looks at it and says, like, oh, you're an electrician or you're a plumber. It's like, meantime, electricians come out of that vocational school making like $85K a year. Starting off. No debt.
Right. Some 20-year-olds, you know, they're making bank. I mean, it's no, you have to understand, it's no fancy schmancy, like, I don't want to say easy, but it's a different environment than the office job. But once you get used to it, a job's a job. It's a little bit rough. The people are a little bit edgy. It is what it is, but it's just like, dude, it's a job at the end of the day. You assimilate, you adapt, but hey, you make decent money without that debt. Is it worth it? I'd say so.
Absolutely. And I mean, we want to hear from you guys. Leave your opinion in the comments section. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's so many professions like electricians, plumbers, HVAC, medical and dental assistants, culinary, automotive mechanics that are making like great money, have good benefits, are able to well support their family, own homes. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. I mean, there's so many avenues, and like you said, even going to a company like Pepsi, or trying to navigate and figuring out where you want to work. But like Pepsi or Walmart or these big corporations, if you do want to stick around, they do pay off pretty well in terms of if you put the time, it pays off. I know a lot of Walmart managers who make pretty good money and have a shit ton of vacation time, you know?
Oh my God, yeah, that's insane. And same with like Amazon, dude.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked there for a couple years, some of the warehouse managers there were super cool, and a lot of them told me they didn't have a degree, they never went to a day in college, but they just started working at Amazon. They started at the bottom in the warehouse, and then they learned the ropes. They worked their way up, and they're making like 75, 80K a year.
Yeah.
That's a very good living and very comfortable living to live off of in today's world. So
no, I'm with you. And imagine if they didn't have the debt too. So you have that amount of money, which is good. And it's like, I don't have debt either. So now you're real comfortable. You don't have these hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars per month to pay off these student loans.
Become a porn star.
Yeah.
Another career alternative. My God.
Honestly, you want to go down that route?
Maybe not, because the guys don't get paid as much as the girls. Because nobody's gonna look at like like this guy, he's doing it. We're gonna look up the guy. It's always the girls that want to.
But seriously,
even
though,
so those guys still make like $500 a shoot. So.
Yeah, even though
good side hustle.
I know you're teasing a little bit, but like. If it's there, if the money's there and you have to do what you have to do, I'm all for it. I'm supportive. Like, okay, if you attempt it, it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if you can make a lot of money being a porn star rather than sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day, sure, your ass might be hurting. You might have to take an ice bath every once in a while, but
penicillin shots.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
Become like, it's too bad we're not ripped like Channing Tatum. Become like Magic Mike.
All right.
But anyway, we're kind of a little off topic there on the script. But hey, that was a complete brainstorm. So it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, tell us in the comments if you want us to get an OnlyFans.
Oh man,
we'll compete with the Island Boys. Steel City Boys versus the Island
Boys want to collab. Yeah,
right. It'll be a bunch of pictures of us taking a shit in the morning.
But yeah, there's also, leads me to the next segment of online education. The benefits of online education: one, it's the flexibility to learn at your own pace. There's no, hey, you got to get this done by 4 years, or you got to have enough credits by this point, or you suck and we're kicking you out.
Right. No, I'm with you. Everything. Here's the sad part. Even when you do have a job and the training is so bad, I'm sure everybody can relate. You get zero training. Nobody has any idea how anything works. Half of your job is looking up YouTube videos or learning whatever software you have to look up or how things interact, and just you're mostly Googling how to do your job when you start it anyway. Yeah,
and it's the flexibility, and there's also just such a wide variety of courses and degrees that you can choose from. I mean, not that you can't do that in a traditional college, but here it's more of I feel like a variety, and you really have time to sit and think. And not to mention, it's way less money than a traditional college.
Oh, yeah.
And it's effective. You're going to get your degree.
No, I'm with you. And like what we were talking about before, these online courses, you can have a job in the day or at night, whatever your schedule is. But then you can complete these online classes whenever you want. It's up to you if you want to put in a ton of hours on a Saturday and get it all knocked out. That's entirely up to you. But that's how the real world is. There are deadlines, but if you put in more effort to get shit done, then you're good. And college, you're kind of waiting on the professor to be like, oh, well, you guys have a test this day. You're waiting to learn material from him. Real world, you don't have to wait.
Right. I mean, remember that old commercial where it was like, you're sitting on the couch watching TV and your life's passing you by?
Yeah.
And he's like, get the online courses for whatever.
Right.
Remember that old commercial?
Oh, yeah, that guy who's like super angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, dude, I'm like 12 years old. Chill.
Yeah, he's like in a parking lot. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He comes out, he's hot. He's just like, life's passing you by. Get off that couch and do something.
We need you on that show, whoever that guy is. Imagine that as our first guest. Oh, man, that would get the people going. Like,
people be like, who the hell is this guy? And then we show them the clip. Get off that couch and get your life together. I'm tired of your bullshit.
why are you making it complicated? It's easy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we need him on the show, man.
Right.
Then people would immediately know, oh, yeah, that guy.
Right. No, absolutely. When I was 12-year-old, I was ready to run through a brick wall for him, motivated.
Yeah, and I mean, there's accredited online universities. I mean, hell, there's Khan Academy, edX, Course ERA, or I think that's how you pronounce it. But
Yeah.
there's all these different platforms that you can use to educate yourself. Definitely, I feel like a better and maybe cheaper alternative than college.
Right. No, and I agree. And here's the thing, too. It's just there's so much information out there now, especially what we learn from college and then what we need to learn about our jobs. It's nice to have these online sources to refresh ourselves. If I need to look something up, I can look at Khan Academy. I can look at YouTube. I can look it up because our memories in today's world, we're like goldfishes or goldfish, but we can't remember all the shit we're putting in because there's so much information out there.
I could tell you maybe like a couple things I learned in college, but like barely. But it's like, cool. I just spent all that money and I'm in debt so that I could learn that tigers are related to cats.
But see, Mr. Grow or Professor Grow, you remembered that. So maybe he was worth that amount of money.
Oh my
You didn't
God.
remember anything else, but you remembered Mr. Grow.
Oh, and some of them were just such rude people, man.
Terrible
like just,
humans.
You'd go up and like try to ask them questions, and you'd be like, "Well, where are your notes?"
Right.
Or just like completely demoralize you. It's like, dude, I'm paying for your salary, asshole.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you ask a question and you're like a dumbass and you're like, dude. And the thing is, too, at my university, there were courses where we had 500 motherfuckers in the auditorium. 500 people? I couldn't even, I could barely even see the screen. I'm squinting how I normally do. Two, I can't even understand this professor who's from like Zimbabwe or something. I just can't understand their accent.
Yeah, that was. Oh, I used to feel so bad. I had a chemistry professor. He was a real nice guy, but oh man, was it so hard to understand him? Like it's like, yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. And then they rush through it, and then they're just like, makes sense. Like,
Not really.
I guess, dude.
I don't rush.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at this point it makes sense. Really doesn't, but yeah, and it's like when you go to their office hours after class, they're like so moody and miserable with their life. It's like, dude, I'm
yeah.
paying money to like learn this crap. The least you could do is be a little nicer and, help me. And that's where I think mentors versus a college professor is the key difference. Mentors, I've been taught by mentors in sales and the insurance industry, they'll actually like be nice to you and take time for you to like get you to learn something effectively too.
Right.
Hands-on approach. I mean, in the insurance industry, I had no idea what I was doing, but because I was more hands-on and I was trained in the real world and actually like going out and networking with people, trying to get, field trainings, I was taught hands-on, and it was way easier for me because I'm a visual learner.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially guys, I think men as a whole, were mostly hands-on visual learners. But even like we were talking about before we started recording, like the Roman days, all throughout human history, people have learned through like apprenticeship, watching somebody, having a mentor, blacksmith. The blacksmith would have some little kid running around, giving him the metal, giving him the ore. That's how we learn. We learn everything from our parents because we visually see it, we're there. But you throw us in these giant auditoriums with all these people, and we have cell phones, we're looking around, we can't understand, there's no human contact, we're just a number. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, no, complete waste of time and a complete waste of money. And again, we're saying this as two guys with degrees.
Yes.
There's better alternatives, trust me. Again, we want to hear from you. Leave a like, leave a comment in the comments section. Make sure you hit subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. And if somebody wants to go the opposite route and debate us of saying why college is worth it, that's cool too. We're here to hear you out. But I remember just one, the price is so ridiculous, but like we were talking about before, the price's percentage of increasing is insane. So I was talking to you before we recorded, but it was like 3.5% of inflation from this past year, and college's tuition was like 12.5%. I don't know what the source was. It was an article, podcast, something, but it's just insane how much college keeps rising up. Like, is it eventually going to hit a bubble and it burst, or are people just not going to go?
I know in our parents' days it was like $500, man. God, I could have like worked a serving job and become a bartender and paid my college tuition debt free.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And yeah, that's another thing for the boomers out there. I know I butt heads with you a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm calling it out. Like, not all of you are bad, but a lot of you,
Most
look,
of you.
We're not in the 70s and 80s anymore where gas was like $1.25 and college tuition was like $200. It's gone up a little bit. Okay, times have changed.
Yeah, no, definitely. And here's another thing too. It's like, so say you graduate high school and you're like 18 years old. From 18 to 22, 18 to 25, whatever, you have a lot of energy. So you could potentially work 2 jobs. I know when I was 18 years old, if all I had to do was eat, sleep, work, I probably had the energy to work a daytime job, 8 to 5, and I could definitely do something at night and do that pretty consistently for a couple years. But now, once you get old, after you get that college degree, office job, you're like, I don't have the same, the energy to do that.
Yeah, no, same here. I worked a job in college while I was in school and definitely had way more energy functioning off Red Bulls and 4 hours of sleep.
Sure.
So it was definitely, yeah, you definitely have more energy. And I'm going to get into the next segment here, what you were talking about earlier about apprenticeships. And if you don't know what apprenticeships is, it's pretty much a structured training while working. Paid learning opportunities. That's the key. Paid learning.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because there's some bullshit out here with like internships. That's another bullshit thing about college. Internships that are unpaid. And you're like, oh, why? This is criminally insane. Like, you are working for a company that you're teaching you, and they're not even paying you. Unpaid internships, that's crime.
I mean, yeah, it's the best, I think, apprenticeships are trades, IT, and healthcare. I mean, those are some top industries. We talked about trades of carpentry and electricians and HVACs. And then there's hands-on approaches in IT. Everything is so electronic nowadays, and healthcare. Everybody needs that healthcare and hospital. So
Yeah.
there's definitely so much opportunities where there's an apprenticeship where you can just learn hands-on, again, paid.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's definitely some of the benefits of apprenticeships. Again, we just talked about hands-on experience, but you get industry-specific skills. So you're not wasting time learning that tigers are cats. You're actually learning specific skills that benefit you to your industry. You're learning more about your industry and not about some bullshit philosophy theory.
Right. I'm surprised. This Mr. Grow, he's living rent free in your head.
Today, at least.
Yeah. Tigers are cats. I'm gonna get a T-shirt of that. And speaking of T-shirts,
Yeah, how do you guys like our new bling with the Steel City?
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Zach, for bringing them.
Oh no! Shout out to my parents getting us these. So I don't know where they got it from, what store, but they're pretty swagged out, baby.
Hell
We got to
yeah.
get some shirts eventually once we get up and coming.
Yeah.
Get to you guys, get our followers and our listeners some merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, if you haven't liked or commented on this, maybe be sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, I mean, another thing is a high potential for a job placement. I mean, I think you set yourself up so much better when you're with these apprenticeships. So
Yeah, it's another part that's difficult, and I understand people who would take the side of that college is worth it is like, oh, well, no company's going to hire you without a college degree.
false.
Yeah, I don't. I sort of see it. I sort of don't. It's kind of a gray area. I know a lot of places that are like, yeah, we're not hiring you if you don't. But at the same time, if I have 4 years of industry work, does that take over? Probably, right? If I'm in construction for 4 years, if I'm 18 years and I do 4 years of construction and I want an office job, a company's probably going to be like, well, he's been in the industry, or as opposed to comparing somebody with a degree, I think it's a wash.
Yeah, and being a guy, you just mentioned industry experience, right? Every interview that I've like gone to or had, they've barely asked me about my degree.
Mhm.
They've asked me about what's your experience. That's what we want. Right? You're not going to recruit a pro athlete who's never played football a day in his life.
Right. The questions aren't necessarily, do you know the information? This is like the job interview one-on-one. I don't really think they care if you know the information. They want to make sure that you are capable of doing the job. If you're a 5'5" guy and you're going into a job interview to be an offensive tackle, they're going to look at you and say, well, this guy, they're just going to look at you and say, this guy can't block somebody who's 400 pounds.
Yeah, really. I mean, definitely high potential for the job placement and getting you the experience. I mean, I'll go back to, this isn't really an apprenticeship, but I'll circle back to that guy I know at Pepsi.
Mm.
Started when he was 18 in the warehouse, just, stacking some cases, doing the grind and the grunt work. Eventually just kept grinding, learning the industry. Told his managers and higher ups, like, hey, I'm interested in advancing. He learned the ropes. Now he's making $85K a year as a manager or supervisor.
Yeah.
So it's like mind-boggling. That's like that's pretty much like the same as a college professor if you think about it.
Oh, yeah, even more than some college professors. I'm sure Mr. Grow wasn't making that.
College professors, maybe they have the, moolah, but garbage men make more than high school teachers. That's just a statistical fact.
Yeah, well, that just goes back to sometimes if you want the money, you got to do dirty jobs. You be a plumber. You might have to deal with a little bit of poop on your hands. Just don't go to lunch without washing them.
I used to love how grade school teachers would say, oh, if you don't grind or if you don't keep your grades up, you're going to be a garbage man or a construction worker. Meantime, you were just mentioning that some of them make
they make
damn
like
good money.
yeah, oh yeah, be a weird trade like a crane operator. Those guys after like 10 years, you're making like $200,000.
Competitive wages. That's what
Yeah.
another thing, an advantage of apprenticeships are. And now this leads me to my next segment of this, my favorite, entrepreneurship, baby. I think advantages of entrepreneurship, one is being your own boss. You don't have to answer to anybody. Is it going to take you some time to learn a skill or be a successful business owner? But yeah, absolutely. But let's be real. I know entrepreneurs that make college professors look like janitors. And there's nothing wrong with being a janitor. I don't want to knock anybody for doing that, but I'm just saying that a lot of college professors, they think they're so entitled and that because I have a master's degree, I'm greater than God. Look, I know entrepreneurs who don't have a college degree that are making more than college professors could ever dream of.
Right. And at the end of the day, too, it's the money is very important, but also the quality of life is also very important. So you can be some miserable professor stuck in a university for 20 years and talk about how tigers are cats, or once you get out of that industry, or once you get out of that university, rather, you experience a lot more. You go through life, you meet new people, you go through failures, your quality of life is just better once it's out of college. It's the real world.
Networking will get you farther than any degree will. I promise you
Absolutely.
that. I absolutely promise you that. And again, I'm saying that as a guy with a degree here. So just saying. And also, a couple of good sales books. Sales is a good skill to know. Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. Crushing It by Gary Vee. Those are some great books to read where it talks about becoming your own boss and how to network and how to sell and how to sell yourself effectively and how to be just that entrepreneurial mindset and networking skills. I think those are just such underrated skills to learn.
Oh, yeah. And once again, and I can see this might be a 50-50 gray area, colleges do have the advantage of networking to somewhat degree. So I will give, I don't know, I'll tip my hat. I'll give them a head nod to colleges being able to set you up and knowing people. But at the same time, if you started in an industry like construction when you're 18, you start to learn that it's all very small. You start to learn people. You get connections that way. So I guess, once again, it's kind of a wash. But networking is the most important thing as you get older. Knowing people, understanding, oh, I know what to expect from this guy. I know this guy's a bum, and then going from there.
Absolutely. There's definitely good books too out there in Barnes & Noble that you can get, and it's much better paying like $10 for a book rather than $100 for some books in colleges.
Oh man, I'm glad you said that. College is an insane scam, but the college bookstores, wow, who thought of that?
I could get all those books on Amazon for like the same price as one book at a college university. It's ridiculous.
And why are all those books not like online now? Why can't we all just have PDF of these books that we pay $10 for it?
And a lot of skills are not taught of
Yes.
investments and making money. It's more taught how to be an employee, which is, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. Obviously, you need to make a salary somehow. But point is, there's definitely other opportunities and other education platforms out there that are a lot cheaper.
I agree. And like you said, that's an interesting point of where we're in the colleges and in education, the American system. We're not taught how to be independent. We're not taught how to be business owners or people on the top. We're all built to follow the rules, stay in the lines, make sure you do it my way, my process. Guess what? The real world's not like that. You can do it 100 different ways and get the same answer. It's up to you of how efficient, inefficient, your work drive, if you're smarter or not. It's really just a roll of the dice once you're out in the real world.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember my first job out of college, my boss told me, he was like, yeah, just honestly forget what you learned in college. Like, oh, great. Just forget what I learned in college. Like, okay, I guess I could forget that, but unfortunately the debt I can't forget.
Yeah, right. It's fucked up.
Yeah, there's definitely alternatives, but hey, enough about this crap. We're transitioning into something, our sports segment, baby. It's Kickoff Sunday. I am so pumped.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of sports news around the league. Cooper Kupp is on IR. Boy, that's a big loss for the Rams. Nick Bosa, highest paid defensive player currently, $170 million over 5 years, $122.5 million guaranteed at signing. Could I take like 0.01% of that?
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that, dude.
Carry his luggage, carry his underwear, whatever he wants.
He probably has 1, 2, 3, 4 as a combination on his luggage. Yeah. Remember that movie Spaceballs? That's the same combination I have on my. Oh, that's some idiot combination on his luggage.
Yeah.
Meantime, yeah, he probably is an idiot, Nick Bosa. But I mean,
whoa! He's gonna light you up.
But hey, he's making stupid money though.
Yeah, true. He's gonna, when he sacks Kenny Pickett today, he's gonna point at the camera and say, "That was for you, Zach."
Dude, that'd be so funny if he just like pointed, gives me the finger. No, I'm so excited today. There's it's definitely a lot going on in the league already. The Detroit Lions, baby,
Love them.
The upset, 21-20 over the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, would you not run through a wall for Dan Campbell?
Oh, I love the guy.
I do too, bro. It's like, we're getting up, we're going to bite your kneecap, we're going to punch you, and we're not going down easy. We're the Detroit Lions. Did we say what we're going to come in here to do today? That's right, baby. Like, damn, I want to run through a wall right now.
Oh yeah, me too.
Then you got like Mike Tomlin. You know, we're not living in our fears. Standard is the standard. Like,
Yeah.
screw that. Oh, did you know he's never had a losing season?
Oh no, the media they never talk about how he doesn't have a losing season.
Oh man, it's like give us some playoff wins, buddy. And we'll talk.
I will say if he goes 8-8 this year, I'm putting $10,000 that he's gonna win because the NFL is gonna make sure he is not gonna have a losing season.
You heard it here first, baby.
Yeah, don't do that.
Boy, 21-20 upset. And speaking of upsets, oh man, Kadarius Toney. Whew. Let's see. He had one. Let's see. I got the stats up here. Kadarius Toney, yeah, finishing with 1 receiving yard, -1 rushing yard. One of those was for a pick 6.
Yeah.
4 drops, and 1 went right off his hands for that pick 6. So, congratulations, Kadarius Toney, for Kickoff Sunday, the official first kickoff Sunday of the year. Congratulations when I say this.
You suck, you jackass.
Well, hey, that wraps it up for us, guys. We appreciate you tuning in again. Look, there's definitely alternatives out there besides colleges. Again, if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, I think you do need to go to school, but explore your education and your career options. Again, we want your feedback and your comments. If you haven't done so, like and subscribe in the channel below. We look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to conclude episode 5. But yeah, feel free. Put in whatever you want in the comments and tell us what you want to hear about in the future. You know, we're open to hear everybody's opinions.
We're up and comers, baby, so we want to give the people what they want.
Yep.
Take care, everybody. Go Stillers.
Yep. See you.